Chomp.
Hi everybody and welcome back to You Are Supreme Toys. Today we're going to be looking at Boss Fight Studios' Saurozoic Warriors. First off, we're going to be checking out Triax Skiver. Now, I'm not sure what his name implies because I don't even know how to pronounce Skiver, but I think it has something to do with leather, maybe. This is Boss Fight Studios' in-house brand, dinosaur-themed warrior toy line, which is just 5-year-old me's favorite thing in the world. Triax here is some type of ceratopsian warrior, a three-horn, as they would say in the land before time. He is in a pretty big window box. I feel like the box is a bit too large for the figure. They really could have cut this box in half, and it would have been a lot of saved space. But Boss Fight Studios likes their packaging. We look on the side, we have this nice piece of artwork of Triax. And the back, we have a collect them all with all the other figures from this wave. The Ceratopsian Guard, Marosis, and Range Brachion. Triax has a pretty heavy bio. This is a massive bio. Seeing how it's their in-house brand, they can come up with their own story arcs and everything for the characters they design. Once a Ceratops guard serving his tribal leader, Triax Skiver discovered a dark secret. His leader was hoarding knowledge and technology that could improve the lives of everyone in Sauria. Not content to just sit by, he stole as many of the forbidden plans and tools as he could carry and left the city in the dead of night. Now with a bounty on his head, unable to return home, Triax Skiver tries to stay one step ahead of those who chase him. He's heard tales of a hidden society of exiled scholars and teachers, and won't rest until he finds them and brings the knowledge he stole to help all the citizens of Sauria. A world-renowned warrior, Triax Skiver uses a variety of custom ammunition in his revolver to take down his opponents. He arrives ready for battle with a halberd axe, 2 blaster pistols, knife, 2 smoke grenades, and armor. Dinosaurs, one of the favorite things ever when I was a kid. Had all kinds of dinosaur toys. Not any action figures. They didn't really have a lot of dinosaur action figures, but definitely a lot of imperial dinosaurs, as miniature dinosaurs. So I love dinosaurs. This really harkens back to that 80s and early 90s style of neon colors. One of my favorite shows growing up was Dino Saucers, and we never got any Dino Saucers action figures over here in the States. They did in Brazil. I didn't even know about those until I was an adult. So this is probably the closest I'll ever get to a Dino Saucers toy line. And I gotta say, these guys look pretty impressive in the package. But we're gonna open him up and see how he stacks up. Alright, and here's Triax out of the box. He is pretty light on accessories. Despite the massive size of the box, he does not have interchangeable hands or interchangeable heads. He pretty much comes with exactly what the bio on the back says he comes with. A halberd axe, which is sculpted pretty nicely. This is a nice sturdy quality plastic. The head of the axe is painted. The sculpt is very nice. It's not just a generic axe. It looks like it was fashioned from some type of gridded steel. It has a little band around the handle. He has a big old knife bayonet that he can stab things to death with. He has 2 little grenades. And he has 2 guns, what looks to be like a revolver and a laser pistol of some type. Now these aren't the most detailed accessories, but they are going to do the job. Let's bring Triax in here and take a look at that mug. He is molded in a green plastic. His entire body is a green plastic. But he's not just a flat plastic. They definitely hit him with a bunch of dark green highlights all around his face and the back, even the back of his head and his back and his arms and legs. Now he is sculpted very nicely. I like the way his face and head look. Despite the cartoony appearance, there are a lot of details sculpted into the face. He has this big old nasty scar on his left eye. His horns are painted, so I can see with prolonged play or him falling from the shelf, you might nick the horn. There's a little tiny itty bitty bare spot on the tip. I mean, it's not like the best paint job in the world. Some of it's kind of sloppy, but he's a pretty basic style action figure. They weren't looking for perfection when designing this guy. He's got a holster for a gun on his back. He's got a holder for his halberd on his back. He's got another holster, which looks to be upside down. I wonder if that's intentional. And then he's got his little scabbard for his knife. All of the armor on this figure are separate pieces attached to the figure so that they can reuse the box for other designs later. It is all a softer rubber plastic. So let's take a look at articulation. He's pretty simple, but pretty elegant. Boss Fight is very particular about making sure their figures are well articulated, and Triax here is no exception. He can look down very well. He has a double jointed neck, so he has the ball joint on the neck, and then he's got a ball joint at the base of the neck, so he can get a lot of side to side, a lot of different directions that he can look. He has a articulated mouth. Now I will say this, the inside of that mouth is painted pretty nasty. It looks weird. Typically you would be happy to open a dinosaur's mouth and look at it. I don't know why the bone color persists under the tongue. It looks kind of weird to me. He has a torso swivel at the waist, so he can actually bobble around. There's not going to be anything at the chest, but this little waist bobble here is excellent. It's going to do a lot and give you a little bit more extra posability. He has swivel and hinged shoulders, a single jointed elbow with a twist which goes to 90 degrees, and he has a swivel and hinged wrist. And the articulation on this guy is actually pretty decent. There are some joints that are a little loose, but others are pretty tight. Then of course he has ball jointed thighs, so there is no upper thigh cut or twist, but the ball joint is going to give you a nice range of motion regardless, and it's hidden very well by this soft rubbery crotch piece. Then he has a single jointed knee, which doesn't quite go 90 degrees, but it does have a twist. And then he has a hinged and swiveled rocker ankle. So articulation wise, he's very good. Like, he can do quite a bit. Let's gear him up. Both of these holsters are the same, so it won't matter exactly which gun you put in each holster. His knife will go in the little scabbard here. Now this little holder for the halberd is a softer plastic that is cut so that you can just slot it in. You don't have to fight it down in the hole like you would with a vintage Ninja Turtle or something. I don't really see anywhere to store the grenades. He will hold his grenades though, so you can actually have him hold the grenades. If you wanted him to have dual grenade wielding action, you could. So this is pretty cool. They've actually designed these hands and the weapons so that the one pair of hands does the job perfectly well with holding whatever weapon he has. You don't need a dozen different hands for your action figures to work effectively. I mean, our Ninja Turtles back in the day only had the two hands that they had in the package, and they could usually hold their weapons well. His hands are a somewhat pliable plastic, so even if they were too tight to the grip, the guns will actually bend the plastic well enough, and his fingers will fit right into the triggers. This guy is great. This is an excellent action figure. I waited quite a while to pick these guys up because I just wasn't sure if I was willing to jump into another line. I gotta say, I am very impressed with the quality of this action figure. I have bought very few Boss Fight Studios items. Most notably, I tried to collect the Bucky O'Hare line, which they eventually dropped. And then I've recently purchased the Strawberry Shortcake figures, which were nice. But these guys are really good. They fit in very nicely. Now, as far as scale is concerned, these guys are going to be roughly 5.5 inches tall. So they're not going to fit in very well with your 6-inch action figure lines. Just so you know the scale you're getting, here is a Origins figure. And the Origin figure is actually somewhat bigger than the Saurozoic Warrior. Here's a Red Ranger from Super 7, so you can see just how short he is compared to a Power Rangers Ultimates. Other than the scale being somewhat off from anything else in my collection, which is another big discrepancy of, oh, should I have bought this line? If you are a 3 3/4 to 4-inch scale action figure collector, this is going to be the perfect size for a dinosaur warrior in scale with those figures. So I don't think these are going to be out of place with the 4-inch humanoid action figure lines. So if you wanted a giant dinosaur behind your Joes or something like that, well, here you go. One more comparison. Here is Zog from the TMNT Mirage comics. And he is very much huge in comparison. And for a price point reference, these Saurozoic Warrior figures are roughly $30 each. Zog here was $50. I think the price discrepancy is warranted. I love this guy. I'd put him in every video if I could. I gotta say, Dinosaur Warrior action figures are really not done very often. Is amazing and fun for kids as dinosaurs are. You do not see enough dinosaur themed action figures out there. So I'm very pleased with Boss Fight Studios' introduction of this toy line and this in-house brand. It's fantastic. I think it could use a few tweaks and improvements, but as far as construction, sculpt, design, concept, playability, accessory count, these guys are just perfect. I think they're great. I think this is a great toy line with a lot of potential, and I can't wait to open the rest of them and review them. I already have Wave 2 pre-ordered even before I open these guys. So this has been an unboxing and review of Boss Fight Studios' Saurozoic Warriors Triax Skiver, and I am UR Supreme Toys. Thank you so much for watching.